I'm now recording this meeting. This is a recording of the site supervisor or host site timesheet approval. It goes through the steps that allow you to approve timesheets for your AmeriCorps members on a weekly basis. So AmeriCorps members, by Monday of every week, they will be filling out their timesheet for the prior week. That runs from Monday all the way till Sunday night. So if they are doing something on the weekend, it gives them the opportunity to enter that as well. Of course, with the approval of the school site or the host site, any activities that they're doing outside of school or on weekends. But that once they finish by midnight on Monday, that will give host sites, our mentoring agencies, as well as service sites, the schools, 48 hours to go in, all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday, to go in, look at their timesheets, and either approve or reject them. So I'm going to go step by step in your meeting invite, and I'll send a follow-up email with this. You'll have instructions. So step one really there is every Tuesday or Wednesday, you'll go to approve or reject the timesheets. You're going to go to the link here. When you click on the link, you will see Encore pop up. It will give you the date. If it does not say 2017, 2018, make sure you're changing that date so it does say 2017, 2018, and you'll submit. Here you get to see all of the AmeriCorps programs that are in Colorado. You'll scroll over to Mentor Colorado. If you are located at a school and the site supervisor, you're going to click on Site Supervisor. If you are at a mentoring agency and the program manager or the one overseeing the AmeriCorps member, you're going to click on Regional Coordinator. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the exact titles on the way that we've been using it in our host site manuals or our service site handbooks. But for mentoring agencies purposes, you will be the regional coordinator, and for schools, you will be the site supervisor. I'm going to log in as a site supervisor. I'm using Caitlin's name. When you first log in, it will be the name of your school or the name of your mentoring agency. So as an example, I am doing Basalt. Lindsay, am I spelling this right?
Yep.
Good.
Yeah, you got it.
And the password will be for everyone to start will be AmeriCorps. I have a different one right now, but you will type in AmeriCorps as it's listed in the instructions. When you first log in, and I'm just going to click log in, instead of going to this screen, it will ask you to reset your password. We wanted it not necessarily to be under a particular name like Brooke or Eric, because if you're away one week and you needed somebody else to approve it, then you could easily just use the name of your school or the name of your mentoring agency. So it doesn't have to be Brooke every week or Eric or the mentoring agency. Or even the site supervisor, if they're out for the week or they weren't working with the AmeriCorps member, if somebody else wants to go in and is able to, then that's okay. For consistency's sake, and even just for use, knowing how to use the site, it's better if it is always the same person. But we know that it might not be possible for every week. And I know, Lindsay, you're on the call now because Brooke is out this week, and you might be doing approving next week as well. But once you get into your site, you will see your member's name. If you have multiple members, you'll see multiple members' names, and you will go into review and approve their timesheet. You will also have the option of selecting which week it is. So if it isn't set on the default, which should be the week that you're reviewing, you can click on that week and select choose, and that week will come up. So it's always the week before that you're approving. So on the Tuesday and Wednesday, you'll be approving the Monday to Sunday of the prior week. So you can see Allie, her timesheet here. When you're looking at the timesheet, go through and look at the hours. They have options under training and service. You can see how many hours they've put under fundraising and under the different training options and the service options. They're also providing a description. As we talked about in the orientation, their lunch period, if they did not work with young people during lunch, sometimes they'll have lunch buddies or other programming available. They could include it if they're working with young people during their lunch. If they are just taking a lunch, similar to what Allie did on Tuesday, October 10th, she put not included in hours. So they can either include it. So let's see if she did that on different days. If they don't actually take a lunch, that's okay. They don't have to indicate that. Hours not included. So you can see that she's taken a lunch on the October 12th, hours not included. So that should not be included in her total hours from 9 until 4:10 p.m. The system only allows them to use quarter hours. So you couldn't put 6.1 or 6.7. It would have to either be 6.25, 6.5, or 6.75. Between the school and the mentoring agency, we're hoping that all the hours that have been completed should be reviewed. If there's something on there that you don't understand, or something you want greater detail with, or something that doesn't seem right, what you can do is to reject it. So you have the choice at the end, after you've reviewed the hours, the total hours that have been spent each day, you can either click I reviewed and approve the timesheet and then submit, or you can click I reviewed and do not approve this timesheet. If you select I do not approve, you will need to write something in the comments box so that the AmeriCorps member knows what they need to fix, either providing greater detail or that they'll need to speak to you on further clarification on what those hours were. Once you submit, especially if you've approved, you'll be done for the week. So it's a pretty quick process of logging in, making sure you have the correct dates, going through their timesheet and reviewing it for accuracy as well as detail, and then either approving or sending it back to them. This all needs to be completed by the end of the day on Wednesday, I think midnight on Wednesday. So if you want to do it late in the evening, you have that option as well. So if we click back into the instructions, you'll see the different steps with either reviewing and then adding comments. Starting on the week of October 23rd, timesheets must be approved before midnight on Wednesday. So again, it's the Tuesday or Wednesday, and what we'll do is ask Caitlin to send everybody a meeting invite. So by the end of the day, Wednesday, maybe at 4 o'clock on Wednesday, we'll say approve or reject timesheets for AmeriCorps members, and that way you'll also have that in your calendar so that it's a weekly reminder to make sure you're doing that. Does anyone have any questions on the steps to approving and reviewing timesheets for AmeriCorps members?
I have a question.
Brad.
Oh.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, Kezia, is that you?
Yeah, so this might be a mute question, but I did have a site supervisor ask me, and it might have just been our member last year, but it constantly got rejected by the program manager here in Partners in Routt County. And so he had to go back, the site supervisor at that particular school had to go back, and he asked, you know, what is that process for if I were to reject it? Does that then it goes back to our member, then it goes back to the site supervisor?
Yes, so if you reject it, and I think it's always better when you reject, yes, we can use comments, and the member will get an email notification letting them know that it's been rejected, and they can go in and fix it. But what we encourage everyone to do is if you reject it, just have a quick conversation with the member and say, you're going to get an email notification. You'll also get my comments, but I just wanted to let you know this is why I rejected it. So then you can say, can you make sure you get it done by this date? And after they've fixed the error, go back in and you can reapprove it.
Okay, and so does the site supervisor have to approve it before I can approve it?
No, so it's concurrent. You can do it at the same time. One can do it before the other. I think in our initial handbook we wrote the site supervisor would do it on the Tuesday and the program manager at the mentoring agency would do it on the Wednesday. Because we don't have that control, we just said either do it Tuesday or Wednesday, and that allowed people 2 days to either approve or reject it. So we just need both people to approve or reject it within that 48-hour period.
Perfect. Thank you.
Good. Was there another question?
Yeah, it's Lindsay. You said that Caitlin's taking care of this week then?
Yep. So it won't start until the week of October 23rd. You know, the challenge with that is Caitlin's not going to know the intimate details. If on the week of October 23rd, if site supervisors or host sites can go back and just check the week before and just make sure it looks okay. I think we're not too concerned about one specific week, but we do want to start on the week of October 23rd to make sure we're accurately checking their timesheets.
Okay, great.
And I had a question, Eric here. So do we have to let the site supervisors know these instructions, or have they been sent these instructions?
So I don't know. I have to go back and check if everyone sent your site supervisor. I don't know if Eric, we have that person's name, but I will be sending an email out tonight with the instructions as well as a recording of this webinar. And the site supervisors can watch this webinar and get those instructions. And we'll let them know that they need to do it the 24th or 25th next week. If they have any questions, they can reach out to, I'll put contact information, and they can reach out to Caitlin to answer any questions that they have about Encore and filling out the approval. But I'm hoping between the instructions in this video that they'll be covered. So if you haven't sent Caitlin and I your site supervisor's name and email address, please make sure you do that this week. We'll be sending out all of your usernames and passwords to log on for Encore by the end of the day on Friday.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
No problem. Was there another question?
Brad, do you know if, maybe this is a Caitlin question, but do you have access to whether or not their background checks have been approved yet, so we can know if they can go into the school alone?
So Caitlin has been emailing people if their background checks have been approved. I haven't been following it as closely because she's been working with Debbie from the CMDC on that. But if you haven't heard from her, I would write her and just check to make sure. This system actually is really good in that we could, and when I think when we get caught up in all of our activities, we'll actually go in and you'll be able to see what documentation we have on the member. With a lot of these trackings, this person has a lot more controls. Like you won't be able to go into the financial reports or anything like that. We're going to delete some of these controls so that site supervisors as well as mentoring agencies don't have to worry about all these tabs. But we'll leave up the tabs that give you more information on the members, so that you see that documentation. But Caitlin will be able to let you know who's been approved yet and who hasn't.
Thank you.
Good. Any other questions? Does it seem pretty easy? It seems easy to me, but I know that, when I say that, there's always like weird things that happen with the Encore. The one challenge I've had sometimes is I've gone in and I tried to click on the link, and when I did, I clicked on this link, it brought me to this screen. I'll hit submit, and then it brings me to some random screen, or I will click, here, and it'll bring me to a random screen. If you don't go to the login screen, just do it again. Every time I've done it twice, the second time it's worked. So if at first you don't succeed, try again. But if it's happening 3 or 4 or 5 times, or if you're having trouble logging in, which we've had with a couple of our members, for some reason their password wasn't taking, shoot me a quick email. You don't have to worry about sending it to Caitlin, but shoot me a quick email. I'll reset your password, and it's always worked once I reset the password. Okay, good. All right, well, if there's no other questions, thanks so much for jumping on. You'll be receiving an email with this recording as well as with the instructions, and we will be starting on Tuesday, October 24th and 25th for mentoring agencies and site supervisors to go in and approve. I will make sure when I send that email, your site supervisor will be copied on that if you've given us that contact information. And that way, if you need to or would like to follow up with them, please do so. But we just want to make sure everybody's comfortable using the platform.
Perfect. Thanks, Brad.
Great.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a
Cool,
good one.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good night.